Most people do not remain poor because they lack intelligence, discipline, or talent. They remain poor because they are structurally mispositioned in the marketplace of value. Their greatest weakness is not incompetence. It is excess availability. They are easy to reach, easy to extract from, easy to ignore, and easy to replace. And the world, without malice and without guilt, prices them accordingly. The market does not reward effort. It rewards leverage. It does not reward goodness. It rewards scarcity. This is not cynicism. This is mechanics. Anything that can be accessed without resistance loses perceived value. Anything that can be summoned at will becomes background noise. And anyone who offers themselves without boundaries trains the world to treat them as a utility rather than an asset. Poverty, in its deepest form, is not the absence of money. It is the absence of control over access to oneself. People confuse generosity with value creation. They believe that the more they give, the more they will be appreciated. This belief is not noble, it is naive. Appreciation does not translate into compensation. Gratitude does not translate into power. The world does not pay for kindness. It pays for what it fears losing. Availability is the silent killer of wealth. When you answer every message immediately, you signal that your time has no competing demand. When you accept every offer, you signal that your standards are negotiable. When you explain yourself repeatedly, you signal that your position is weak. None of this is interpreted consciously. It is absorbed subconsciously and priced into how the world treats you. People do not disrespect you because they are cruel. They disrespect you because your behavior tells them that doing so is safe. This is where most people misunderstand power. They imagine power as dominance, aggression, or visibility. In reality, power begins with withdrawal. The ability to not show up, the ability to delay, the ability to let silence work on your behalf. In every hierarchy, political, economic, social, the person who can be absent without consequence is the one whose presence matters. The poor person is everywhere. The powerful person is selective. Scarcity is not created by hiding. It is created by removing frictionless access. There is a difference. Isolation is weakness. Selective presence is strength. The poor man disappears because no one notices. The powerful man disappears, and the system pauses, waiting. This distinction defines the root of wealth. In every court, every corporation, every market, those with real influence are not the ones working the hardest. They are the ones whose participation is optional but consequential. They can say no without apologizing. They can walk away without panic. They can wait without anxiety. And because they can wait, others begin to adjust around them. Money follows this adjustment. The individual who is always available is always negotiable, and the negotiable is always discounted. This is why so many skilled, intelligent people remain underpaid while mediocre figures accumulate wealth. The skilled individual ties their identity to contribution. They feel guilt when withholding. They believe that visibility equals opportunity. Meanwhile, the mediocre individual understands a darker truth. Value is not inherent, it is framed. Framing begins with access. When you make yourself available without cost, you collapse your own leverage. When you show up too quickly, too often, too eagerly, you teach the market that your absence has no consequence. And if your absence has no consequence, your presence has no price. The economy does not ask whether this is fair. It simply responds. Poverty is often misdiagnosed as a financial problem when it is, in reality, a positional problem. You are standing in the wrong place in the game. You are too close to the demand, too eager to serve it, too exposed to its fluctuations. Wealth is created by distance. Distance creates perspective. Perspective creates authority. Authority creates pricing power. This is why those at the top are insulated. Not because they are arrogant, but because insulation preserves value. They guard their time, their energy, their attention with precision. Not everything deserves a response. Not every opportunity deserves consideration. Not every request deserves acknowledgement. The poor man reacts. The wealthy man selects. Selection is the first signal of dominance. Most people fear this shift because they equate withdrawal with loss. They believe that if they step back, they will be forgotten. This fear is accurate for those who have nothing unique to offer. But for those who possess real capability, withdrawal does the opposite. It creates tension. It creates curiosity. It forces others to notice the absence and ask why it exists. Absence, when backed by substance, increases demand. The problem is that most people attempt to raise their price without changing their posture. They want to be paid more while remaining fully accessible. This never works. Price is not a number. It is a behavioral signal. And behavior always speaks louder than claims. You cannot say you are valuable while behaving as if you are disposable. The transition out of poverty begins with a ruthless audit of availability. Where are you overexposed? Who has unrestricted access to you? Which environments drain value instead of concentrating it? Every unnecessary meeting, every unfiltered conversation, every reflexive response is a small leak in your economic structure. Individually, these leaks seem harmless. Collectively, they ensure stagnation. Wealth requires friction. It requires barriers. It requires people to feel a slight resistance before accessing you. Not hostility, resistance. Enough to signal that your time is not free, your attention is not unlimited, and your presence is not guaranteed. This resistance recalibrates perception. The moment you reduce unnecessary availability, something uncomfortable happens. People push back. They question. They test. This is not rejection. This is validation. The system is checking whether your boundary is real or cosmetic. Most fail this test. They fold under pressure and return to old patterns, reinforcing their low valuation. Those who endure the discomfort pass into a different category. At that point, the dynamic changes. People stop asking for everything. They start asking for permission. They become concise. They become respectful. They begin to prepare before engaging. And preparation is the clearest signal that value has been assigned. This is the invisible threshold between poverty and leverage. To be clear, this is not about arrogance. Arrogance is insecurity masquerading as confidence. This is about structure, about aligning your behavior with the economic laws that govern human attention and desire. Gold does not need to explain itself. It does not chase buyers. It is extracted with effort, precisely because it is scarce. If your presence is cheap, your output will be priced cheaply, regardless of its quality. The first step toward wealth is therefore not acquisition, but subtraction, removing yourself from places that do not reflect your intended value, reducing access that has been taken for granted, reclaiming the right to be unreachable. Until this shift occurs, no strategy, no skill, no hustle will compensate for the underlying flaw. You are not poor because you lack something. You are poor because you are too easy to consume. And until you change that, the market will continue to treat you as it always has: available, replaceable, and cheap. Scarcity is power. The lever. The wealthy pull silently. Once availability is reduced, a second force immediately comes into play: scarcity. Scarcity is not a marketing trick. It is not manipulation. It is not branding. It is a biological and psychological law that governs how humans assign value, attention, and respect. The human mind does not desire what is abundant. It desires what is limited, delayed, and difficult to obtain. This instinct predates money, markets, and civilization. Scarcity once meant survival. What was rare had to be secured. What was common could be ignored. That ancient wiring still dictates modern economics. Wealth flows toward those who understand and control this mechanism. The poor try to increase value by adding more effort, more hours, more explanations, more visibility. The wealthy do the opposite. They subtract access, compress exposure, and concentrate impact. They do not become valuable by doing more. They become valuable by being harder to reach, but impossible to replace. Scarcity is the difference between being busy and being powerful. In every industry, the highest paid individuals are not the most accessible. They are the most constrained. Their calendars are restricted, their attention is filtered, their availability is conditional. This is not ego, it is leverage. When access is limited, people adjust their behavior. They prepare more, they listen more closely, they waste less time. Scarcity forces seriousness. Abundance invites carelessness. This is why free is dangerous. What is free is consumed casually and discarded quickly. What costs something, time, money, effort, patience, is respected. The cost itself becomes proof of value, even before results appear. This is why people trust expensive consultants more than free advice, even when the content overlaps. Payment changes posture. Scarcity changes perception. Those who remain poor often sabotage themselves here. They believe that offering more will generate loyalty. In reality, it generates dependency without respect. Loyalty does not arise from generosity. It arises from selective access. When people feel chosen rather than accommodated, their behavior shifts. Scarcity creates hierarchy. Hierarchy is unavoidable. Every system produces it. The question is not whether hierarchy exists, but where you are placed within it. Scarcity elevates position. Abundance lowers it. The individual who is always present sinks toward the bottom of the hierarchy, regardless of skill. The wealthy understand that scarcity must exist on multiple levels simultaneously. First, scarcity of time. If your time is endlessly available, it has no economic weight. Time becomes valuable only when it competes with other priorities. The wealthy protect their time not because they are busy, but because time scarcity creates authority. When someone knows your time is limited, they adjust their demands accordingly. Second, scarcity of attention. Attention is more valuable than time. You can give time while withholding attention. The wealthy do not fully engage with everyone. They choose carefully where their attention lands. This creates psychological gravity. People lean in when attention is rare. Third, scarcity of decision-making. The most valuable individuals are not those who execute tasks, but those whose decisions alter outcomes. Decision scarcity is where wealth accelerates. When your approval, judgment, or direction becomes a bottleneck, value concentrates around you. This is why executives, strategists, and power brokers earn disproportionate rewards. They are not doing more work. They are gatekeepers of direction. Scarcity turns presence into an event. When someone appears rarely but decisively, their presence carries weight. When someone appears constantly, their presence dissolves into noise. The modern world is saturated with noise. Visibility has never been cheaper. Authority has never been rarer. Most people confuse visibility with importance. They believe that being seen often makes them relevant. In reality, constant exposure erodes mystery, and mystery is a component of power. When people know everything about you, they stop projecting value onto you. Scarcity preserves projection. Projection is how humans assign value beyond evidence. It is why luxury brands sell identity, not materials. It is why powerful individuals reveal little and imply much. The unknown amplifies perception. The known is bounded. Those who make themselves scarce force others to fill in the gaps, and people almost always overestimate what they cannot fully access. This is not deception, it is positioning. The mistake many make is attempting to simulate scarcity without substance. This fails quickly. Fake scarcity collapses under pressure. Real scarcity holds because it is supported by actual value and real alternatives. You cannot be scarce if you need everyone. Scarcity requires independence. This is why financial desperation destroys leverage. The moment you need the deal, the client senses it. The moment you need the approval, the audience feels it. Neediness neutralizes scarcity. It turns distance into pretense. The wealthy structure their lives to reduce visible need, even before wealth arrives. This is where discipline replaces motivation. Scarcity requires restraint. It requires tolerating silence. It requires enduring missed opportunities in the short term to dominate in the long term. Most fail here. They break under the discomfort of waiting. They lower their standards to relieve anxiety. And in doing so, they reset their value downward. Scarcity only works when it is maintained under pressure. When you refuse a mediocre offer, you create temporary loss, but permanent leverage. When you accept it, you gain short-term relief, but long-term dependency. The wealthy consistently choose the former. They understand that leverage compounds, just like interest. Markets reward patience far more than effort. The person who can wait controls the tempo. The person who controls tempo controls negotiation. The person who controls negotiation controls price. Scarcity is what allows waiting without panic. This is why the wealthy rarely rush. Urgency belongs to those without options. Calm belongs to those with leverage. To build wealth, you must engineer situations where you are not required to act immediately, where silence does not harm you, where absence increases demand rather than eliminating it. This requires deliberate design. It does not happen accidentally. Your environment must support scarcity. Your relationships must respect it. Your habits must reinforce it. If everyone can reach you, you are not scarce. If anyone can hire you, you are not scarce. If every request gets a response, you are not scarce. Scarcity begins the moment you accept that not everyone deserves access. This realization is uncomfortable because it conflicts with social conditioning. You are taught to be polite, responsive, accommodating. These traits are rewarded socially, but punished economically. Wealth does not respond to politeness. It responds to constraint. The wealthy do not apologize for limitation. They understand that limitation is the source of their power. Scarcity is not cruelty. It is self-preservation. When you conserve your energy, attention, and decision-making capacity, you become concentrated. Concentration produces intensity. Intensity commands respect. Respect attracts money. This is the invisible chain. Most people break it at the first link. They overextend, they overexpose, they overgive, and then they wonder why nothing accumulates. Wealth is accumulation. Accumulation requires containment. Containment requires boundaries. Boundaries create scarcity, and scarcity, when paired with substance, becomes power. Until scarcity is established, nothing else matters. No pricing strategy, no branding, no negotiation tactic can override unlimited access. The market only pays premiums for what it cannot freely consume. Scarcity is the lever. Pull it correctly, and the entire system shifts. Fail to pull it, and you will remain busy, visible, exhausted and poor. Price without explanation. The rule that separates power from poverty. The moment you explain your price, you have already lost leverage. Explanation is not clarification. Explanation is submission. It is an unconscious admission that your value is negotiable, that your position is unstable, that you are seeking approval rather than asserting reality. In every hierarchy, economic, social, political, the one who explains is downstream from the one who decides. The wealthy understand a brutal truth most people never internalize. Price is not justified. Price is imposed. Gold does not explain why it costs more than iron. It does not list its properties to convince the market. It simply exists, scarce and uncontested. Those who cannot afford it exit silently. Those who can adjust themselves to it. That is how authority works. The poor invert this logic. They attempt to convince others of their worth. They over-communicate. They defend. They rationalize. They build elaborate narratives around effort, background, intention, morality. None of it matters. Markets do not reward stories. They reward position. Price is position. When you justify your price, you frame yourself as optional. You invite comparison. You allow negotiation to begin. The other party stops asking, "Is this valuable?" and starts asking, "How low can this go?" At that point, you are no longer selling value. You are auctioning insecurity. This is why most people never escape the middle. They believe pricing is about fairness. It is not. Pricing is about leverage asymmetry. Whoever needs the deal less controls the terms. Whoever needs the deal more sacrifices margin, dignity, and long-term positioning. Wealth begins when urgency ends. The individual who can walk away without emotional disturbance holds power, not because they are aggressive, but because they are independent. Independence is the real currency. Money is just a byproduct. The wealthy do not rush to close. They allow the other side to feel the tension of indecision. Silence becomes a negotiation tool. Delay becomes a filter. Those who cannot tolerate the weight remove themselves. Those who remain reveal seriousness. This is not manipulation. It is selection. Selection is how power preserves itself. The wealthy are not trying to accommodate everyone. They are trying to eliminate mismatch. Price is the most efficient elimination mechanism ever created. Low prices attract low-commitment actors. High prices attract those who have something to protect. This is not elitism. It is pattern recognition. When someone pays a meaningful price, they are invested. They listen differently. They act differently. They respect the exchange. When they pay little, they behave casually, critically, and extractively. Cheap access produces cheap behavior. This is why free destroys value. Free advice is ignored. Free labor is exploited. Free access invites entitlement. The wealthy understand this and avoid it strategically. They do not give away their core value. They sample, they imply, they signal, but they never fully deliver without cost. Cost creates posture. Posture determines outcome. Those who remain poor often believe they are being moral by undercharging. In reality, they are training the market to treat them as disposable. Morality does not protect you in economic systems. Structure does. The moment you lower your price to be chosen, you send a signal that you fear exclusion more than irrelevance. This signal travels faster than words. It marks you. Markets remember. Reputation compounds. Once you are known as negotiable, every future interaction starts from a weakened position. You will be asked for discounts. You will be pushed for concessions. You will be treated as interchangeable. This is not because people are evil, but because your behavior taught them that this was acceptable. The wealthy prevent this early. They set boundaries before the first transaction. They define conditions without apology. They do not explain why their standards exist. Standards that require explanation are not standards. They are preferences, and preferences are always overridden. A rule is only a rule if it survives pressure. Wealthy individuals design rules they can defend under discomfort. They accept short-term loss to preserve long-term position. They understand that one bad deal can poison 10 good ones by resetting perception. This is why they reject deals quickly. Rejection is not arrogance. It is calibration. It communicates self-respect internally and externally. Every time you say no to something beneath you, you reinforce your own identity as someone who does not need to settle. Identity precedes income. People think wealth changes mindset. It is the opposite. Mindset constructs wealth. The decisive break between poverty and power happens when you stop needing to be chosen. When you stop framing offers as opportunities and start evaluating them as alignment tests. Does this elevate position or dilute it? Does it reinforce scarcity or destroy it? Does it respect your structure or violate it? If the answer is no, the response is silence or refusal, not negotiation. Negotiation implies mutual dependency. Power implies optionality. This is why the truly wealthy often appear cold. They are not emotional. They are consistent. They do not fluctuate based on opinion, praise, or criticism. Their price does not change because someone is uncomfortable. Discomfort is not a valid economic argument. The poor fear being perceived as difficult. The wealthy understand that being difficult filters out those who should not have access anyway. Ease is for commodities. Resistance is for assets. You cannot be both universally liked and highly paid. The system does not allow it. Approval and leverage sit on opposite ends of the same spectrum. Choosing one sacrifices the other. Those who make themselves expensive choose leverage. They speak less. They commit selectively. They do not overshare process. They do not perform effort. They present outcomes. They do not chase validation. They let scarcity do the work. This posture terrifies most people because it requires standing alone. It requires tolerating misinterpretation. It requires being misunderstood without correcting the narrative. This is where most fail. They rush to explain, to soften, to justify, and in doing so, they collapse their own price. Power does not argue. Power does not defend. Power does not over-communicate. Power states conditions and waits. If the conditions are not met, power exits. This is not drama, it is discipline. The wealthy know that every time they compromise standards, they pay interest later. That interest shows up as resentment, exhaustion, and stagnation. Protecting price protects energy. Protecting energy preserves clarity. Clarity enables better decisions, and better decisions compound faster than effort ever will. Price without explanation is not about arrogance. It is about alignment between self-perception and external behavior. When those two are congruent, the market adjusts. When they are not, the market exploits the gap. You cannot fake this. The system detects inconsistency immediately. If you internally believe you are replaceable, you will behave in ways that confirm it. If you internally accept that your presence has weight, you will naturally impose structure without theatrics. This is the inflection point. Once you stop explaining, stop discounting, stop chasing, and stop negotiating from need, something shifts. You are no longer asking the market to value you. You are allowing it to reveal who can afford you. Most will walk away. That is the price of power. Those who remain will pay not just with money, but with respect, preparation, and seriousness. And that is where wealth begins to concentrate. Not when you are understood, but when you are unavailable for compromise, cutting losses. Why wealth is built by removal, not addition. Most people try to become wealthy by adding more clients, more projects, more connections, more activity. This instinct feels logical, but it is precisely what traps them. Wealth is not created by accumulation alone. It is created by elimination. Until you learn to cut what devalues you, nothing you add will matter. The wealthy do not grow by expansion first. They grow by pruning. Every low-quality deal you accept trains the market to treat you as low quality. Every relationship that consumes without reciprocating erodes your internal leverage. Every obligation you tolerate, out of fear, quietly rewrites your identity downward. These are not moral failures. They are strategic errors. Poverty persists because people refuse to cut. They hold on to bad clients because they fear empty calendars. They maintain weak alliances because they fear isolation. They accept disrespect because they fear conflict. In doing so, they trade long-term power for short-term comfort. Comfort is expensive. It costs you the future. The wealthy understand that loss is a tool, not a tragedy. Cutting a bad deal is not losing money. It is buying leverage. Cutting a draining relationship is not loneliness. It is reclaiming energy. Cutting unnecessary visibility is not obscurity. It is repositioning. Every cut sharpens structure. Machiavellian thinking does not ask, "What can I gain here?" It asks, "What must be removed to restore dominance?" Power is not fragile. It does not collapse when something is taken away. Weak structures collapse. Strong structures become clearer. Most people are surrounded by what keeps them small. Low-paying clients who demand high emotional labor, opportunities that require constant proving, social circles that normalize mediocrity, routines that fragment attention. None of these are neutral. They exert downward pressure on valuation. The longer you tolerate them, the more natural they feel. Eventually, you confuse survival with success. The wealthy refuse this normalization. They audit relentlessly, not annually, continuously. Every association is evaluated by one question: does this raise or lower my position? Not emotionally, structurally. If it lowers position, it is removed. This is where sentimentality becomes dangerous. Sentimentality binds people to sunk costs. I've invested too much to walk away. This belief keeps people trapped in bad marriages, bad businesses, bad identities. The market does not reward loyalty to failure. It rewards decisiveness. Sunk costs are dead weight. The wealthy do not drag dead weight forward. They cut it cleanly and move on. They do not need closure. They need clarity. Clarity restores momentum. One bad deal tolerated out of fear opens the door to 10 more. One boundary violated teaches others that all boundaries are flexible. Once flexibility is detected, pressure increases. Markets probe for weakness. If you do not enforce your limits, the system will enforce its demands on you. There is no neutral state. You are either shaping the interaction or being shaped by it. Cutting losses sends a powerful signal to others and to yourself. Externally, it communicates non-neediness. Internally, it rebuilds self-respect. Self-respect is not psychological fluff. It directly affects behavior. Behavior affects positioning. Positioning determines income. People who never cut losses are permanently reactive. They are always managing consequences rather than directing outcomes. The wealthy reverse this. They preemptively remove anything that threatens alignment. This is why the wealthy appear ruthless. Ruthlessness is simply clarity without guilt. Guilt is a social emotion designed for group cohesion, not individual ascendancy. When misapplied, it keeps people compliant. The wealthy feel guilt like anyone else, but they do not allow it to dictate strategy. They understand that guilt does not pay returns. A critical distinction must be made here. Cutting is not chaos, it is precision. The wealthy do not burn bridges indiscriminately. They simply stop crossing bridges that lead nowhere. They do not announce departures. They withdraw quietly and redirect energy. Silence is cleaner than explanation. Explanation invites debate. Debate invites doubt. The poor feel compelled to justify every decision. The wealthy act and let reality validate them. When you cut correctly, results follow. Results end arguments. There is a biological dimension to this. Stress fragments cognition. When you are surrounded by draining commitments, your decision-making degrades. You become short-term oriented. You accept worse deals. You lose strategic vision. Cutting losses reduces cognitive load, restoring mental sharpness. Sharp minds generate better leverage. This is why the wealthy protect their bandwidth aggressively. They do not entertain endless conversations. They do not attend meetings without authority. They do not participate in environments where outcomes are vague. Vagueness is a sign of low power. Everything unclear drains value. Cutting is also how scarcity is preserved. You cannot be scarce if you are spread thin. You cannot command premium positioning if you are everywhere. Concentration is required. Concentration demands sacrifice. Sacrifice is misunderstood. Sacrifice is not suffering. It is prioritization under constraint. You sacrifice low-return inputs to amplify high-return outputs. The wealthy sacrifice popularity to preserve position. They sacrifice volume to increase quality. They sacrifice immediacy to build endurance. Most people do the opposite. They sacrifice the future to relieve the present. Cutting losses reverses this trade. There is a moment in every ascent where you must disappoint people who benefited from your former availability. This moment is unavoidable. Those people will accuse you of changing. They are correct. Change is the objective. If everyone is comfortable with your evolution, you are evolving too slowly. The wealthy accept being misunderstood. They accept being labeled difficult, distant, or arrogant. Labels are cheaper than access. They let others keep the labels while they keep the leverage. Another misconception is that cutting losses requires abundance first. This is false. Abundance is created by cutting, not the other way around. The moment you stop tolerating low-value interactions, higher-value ones become possible. Not guaranteed, but possible. Possibility is enough. Wealth does not require certainty. It requires optionality. Optionality comes from having room to maneuver. Room is created by removal. The person who fills every hour, every slot, every emotional gap has no room. They cannot pivot. They cannot wait. They cannot select. They are locked into whatever appears next. The wealthy design emptiness strategically. Empty space is not waste. It is readiness. It is what allows them to move when opportunity appears. Those who are full cannot accept anything new without collapse. This is why cutting losses often precedes rapid growth. It looks like contraction from the outside, but it is actually compression before expansion. Pressure builds. Focus intensifies. When the right opportunity arrives, energy is available to seize it fully. People who never cut are perpetually half-committed to everything. Half commitment yields half results. The wealthy commit fully, but only after cutting away everything that dilutes commitment. In Machiavellian terms, power is most visible in what you refuse to do. Anyone can say yes. Few can say no consistently. Fewer still can say no under pressure. Saying no is expensive in the short term. It costs approval, comfort, and certainty. But it buys sovereignty. Sovereignty compounds. Once you establish a reputation for walking away, the market adjusts, offers improve, behavior shifts, respect increases, not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated independence. Independence is the ultimate signal. You cannot fake independence. It must be practiced. It is proven by cuts made before comfort arrives. Until you are willing to cut what keeps you small, everything else is cosmetic. Wealth is not built by collecting more. It is built by removing what weakens you, until what remains is concentrated, scarce, and undeniable. 2026. The posture of the man who sets the price. The year 2026 will not belong to the hardest worker, the most visible creator, or the most talented specialist. Those archetypes are already being devalued. Automation, artificial intelligence, global labor arbitrage, and content saturation are collapsing the price of effort at an unprecedented rate. What remains valuable is not labor, it is posture. Posture is how you exist in the system when you do not need to prove anything. The defining trait of the wealthy in 2026 will not be speed, hustle, or adaptability. It will be the ability to impose terms without urgency. The individual who can wait, who can say no, who can withstand silence without panic, will dominate every negotiation, economic, social, and psychological. Most people misunderstand what it means to set the price. They think it is about charging more. It is not. Setting the price means defining the frame before the offer exists. By the time money is discussed, the outcome should already be structurally tilted in your favor. The poor wait for offers. The wealthy create conditions. Conditions decide value long before transactions occur. In 2026, value will concentrate around three attributes: scarcity, authority, and decision gravity. Scarcity without authority is fragile. Authority without scarcity is diluted. Decision gravity, the capacity for your judgment to alter outcomes, is what fuses the two into wealth. The man who sets the price is not reactive. He does not adjust himself to the market. He forces the market to orient around him. This is why visibility will continue to decline in value. Everyone is visible. Everyone is producing. Everyone is shouting. Noise has become infinite. Silence, therefore, becomes dominant. Silence signals that you are not competing for attention. You already have leverage. The man who sets the price does not explain his thinking in real time. He does not live stream his process. He does not narrate his effort. He reveals outcomes selectively. This preserves asymmetry. Asymmetry is power. When people know too much about how you operate, they begin to negotiate against you. When they know only that you deliver results, negotiation collapses into acceptance. In 2026, information symmetry will destroy margins. The wealthy will maintain intentional opacity, not secrecy, but restraint. They will share enough to establish authority, but never enough to commoditize themselves. This posture requires emotional discipline. You must be able to endure being misunderstood. You must tolerate criticism without responding. You must watch others speculate without correcting them. The urge to clarify is the urge to lower status. High-position individuals let narratives circulate because they understand that clarity is a privilege, not a right. The weak chase approval. The strong allow interpretation. Interpretation creates projection. Projection inflates value. This is why powerful figures across history appear distant, controlled, and minimal. Not because they lack warmth, but because excess warmth erodes authority. Authority is not built through intimacy. It is built through consistency and restraint. The man who sets the price in 2026 does not overcommit. He does not fill his calendar to signal importance. He leaves space deliberately. Space is where leverage lives. When opportunity arrives, he can move fully. Those who are overbooked are trapped in momentum they did not choose. Choice is the true marker of wealth. Money follows those who are not forced to decide under pressure. Pressure collapses intelligence. Calm expands it. The wealthy optimize for calm, not productivity. Productivity creates output. Calm creates judgment. Judgment creates disproportionate returns. This is the transition from worker to strategist. Workers are paid for execution. Strategists are paid for direction. One decision can be worth more than 10,000 hours of labor, but only if that decision comes from someone whose authority is already established. Authority is not claimed. It is demonstrated over time through coherence. When your behavior, boundaries, pricing, and silence all align, the market adjusts around you automatically. There is no need to demand respect. Respect is inferred. The man who sets the price does not fear losing deals. He understands that bad deals cost more than no deals. Bad deals erode positioning. They normalize compromise. They teach others to push. The wealthy protect their frame aggressively because once it breaks, rebuilding is costly. In 2026, the most dangerous position will be the useful one. Useful people are everywhere. They are skilled, responsive, adaptable, and replaceable. Usefulness is a trap. It keeps you employed, but not elevated. The wealthy aim to be decisive, not useful. They are not needed for execution. They are needed for resolution. When they enter a situation, ambiguity collapses. Direction becomes clear. That clarity is what people pay for, not effort, not availability. Clarity. Clarity requires distance. Distance allows perspective. Perspective enables judgment. Judgment creates authority. Authority sets price. This is the hierarchy most never climb because it requires resisting social conditioning. You are taught to be humble, agreeable, responsive. These traits make you pleasant. They do not make you wealthy. The man who sets the price in 2026 is courteous but immovable. He listens without absorbing. He speaks without negotiating. He helps without serving. He participates without belonging. Belonging is dangerous. It binds you to group norms. Group norms punish differentiation. Wealth requires differentiation. Those who seek inclusion will always underprice themselves to remain accepted. The wealthy accept isolation as a tax on power, not loneliness, but selective distance. They choose few alliances. They invest deeply. They avoid crowds. Crowds dilute status. Proximity to everyone eliminates mystery. Mystery is not deception. It is unfinished information. Unfinished information keeps attention engaged. It prevents closure. Closure ends desire. This is why overexposure is fatal. The moment people feel they fully understand you, your value stabilizes or declines. Growth requires ambiguity. Authority requires limits. The man who sets the price understands that time is not spent, it is invested. Every interaction is evaluated. Does this compound or dilute? Does this reinforce scarcity or undermine it? Does this elevate position or normalize access? If it does not compound, it is declined. This posture looks cold to those who live emotionally. It looks arrogant to those who live reactively. But the system rewards it relentlessly, because the system responds to structure, not intention. In 2026, money will chase those who do not chase money. Influence will attach to those who do not seek validation. Opportunities will gravitate toward those who do not advertise availability. This is the final inversion. When you stop needing the outcome, you gain control over the process. When you gain control over the process, outcomes multiply. The man who sets the price is not obsessed with money. He is obsessed with sovereignty. Money follows sovereignty because sovereignty is rare. Most people are governed by fear, urgency, and social pressure. The sovereign individual is not. That difference is felt immediately. People sense it in tone, in pacing, in silence, in refusal, in calm. Calm is the most expensive signal in a volatile system. As volatility increases, calm becomes priceless. Those who can remain internally unmoved while the environment accelerates will define the next hierarchy. They will not compete on volume. They will not race on speed. They will not negotiate on price. They will impose terms through posture alone. That is what it means to be expensive. Not loud, not visible, not busy, but unavailable to pressure. In 2026, that is the posture that builds wealth.